I'm Janice Hossager. After 3 decades in the marketing business and many years of being an entrepreneur, I've learned a thing or two about marketing. Join me as we talk about marketing, small business, and life in between. Welcome to My Weekly Marketing. Welcome back to another episode of My Weekly Marketing. This week, I have a phenomenal guest. Her name is Nancy Nungari. Nancy is an author, digital strategist, and a trainer with a passion for personal development as well. But she's also taken a ride on that entrepreneurial roller coaster that you and I know so well and live to tell about it. But before we dive into Nancy's journey and the valuable lessons she's learned, let me remind you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We share a treasure trove of marketing and small business lessons each week, and by subscribing, you'll always be up to date. So back to Nancy now. She is a wizard when it comes to content marketing. She works with clients to focus on the types of content all businesses need at each step of the customer journey, and she's here to share her insights and the story of how she got to this point. So grab your favorite beverage, kick back, and let's hear from Nancy. Well, good morning, Nancy, or should I say good afternoon, where you are in Germany.
Good afternoon, Janice.
So tell me about your story. You have a really interesting background and just your whole your life journey, basically, in a nutshell.
Wow. Life journey in a nutshell. How much time do you have? Well, I'm born in Kenya. I'm born and raised in Kenya, and I migrated to Germany about 25 years. I've been living in Germany about 25 years with some interruptions. And professionally, what I do is I'm a coach and a consultant. I'm a marketing consultant, and how that happened, because you said life journey, and we're here talking about marketing, is I had a bookshop. I had a Christian bookshop, which is another story altogether, because I was an atheist at one point. And by default, I tend to be a very curious person. So, when I don't like to say I found Jesus. He found me because he wasn't lost, actually. I was the lost one. So, when I started going back into that direction, because I grew up in a Christian home, but when, God started wooing me with his love, I was like, okay, one of the reasons why I became an atheist was because I just could not believe in a God who allows so many bad things to happen. So I was like, okay, I really need to know what I'm getting into, because if I'm in, I'm totally in. And if I'm out, I'm totally out. So long story short, it got to the point where I really started wanting to know more about this God of my mother, or this Jesus of my mother. I wanted it to be my God. And I was very, I wanted to know more. What am I getting into? And one thing led to another, and I ended up opening a Christian bookshop out of obviously my own desire to know more. So I was my best customer, buying the books and just devouring, just wanting to know more about what I've gotten into. And so I opened a Christian bookshop here in Germany. And then about 2007, 2008, when the global, the recession hit, Amazon became a competitor I could no longer compete with, and I was not prepared for that. E-commerce started coming in, and people would come into the shop and, want to have a chit chat. With a small bookshop, so it was like the shop next door. And they say, oh, by the way, I got that book over there. And then they continue talking. I'm thinking, okay, you bought the book in Amazon, but you're coming here to discuss it. What's up with that? And sometimes I'd really get upset, but you can't get upset with people for taking the decisions that serve them best. So slowly I realized the shop was no longer sustainable. And then I closed it and took my business online. And I thought, okay, I'm going to order books, save the overheads of having a physical bookshop, and I'll sell my books online, because I used to supply like the church and other organizations with English and German books. And that's how I got into online marketing, and here we are today. Long story short.
Yes, that is fascinating. So, what do you know now that you wish you would have known when you started that bookstore? Just curious, because I think we jump into our businesses with a dream and a vision in mind, and we kind of get schooled along the way.
Absolutely. character development, right? Business is one of the
Mm,
things that can really develop your character. What I wish I knew then when I started, was like think ahead, like, like, stay in touch with the trends of the industry. Just try to be a little bit ahead, not too much that we overthink in the future, but just kind of
mhm,
keep your finger on the pulse of the industry, and your clients are the best people. They're going to tell you what's happening, because sometimes we can be so much in our business that we don't see the trees for the forest. But I think if I had known, I had that shop about 5 years, 6 7 years. The 2 years was online, but if I had kind of thought ahead of when Amazon started coming, and instead of trying to fight it, and trying to go against it, if I had maybe just thought a bit ahead, and maybe it could have been different on the other side. I don't regret it, because, that was a dream that became reality, and then we outgrow things, we get a new
mm,
vision, and then we anything that is not changing and growing is dead. So, but knowing the trends ahead of time, it maybe I could have known how to how to transition into the online space, because I was trying to build a business, and online, people were no longer coming to the shop because I closed it. I'd written my fast book. I was trying to sell, and I was not prepared to realize this is not going to pay the bill. So I had to get a job on the side. I had to be a freelancer in a
mhm.
market research institute to kind of try and build my business online, and at the same time, working as a freelancer. And that was not a very good decision. That led to some burnout, because it was harder than I expected. So yeah, I wish I knew, a little bit ahead of time, and transition into the ease, and kind of see ahead of time and plan better, especially around
Mhm.
the transition from offline to online. It's one thing to have a business online, but it's another thing for people to find you there.
Oh, right. I often tell the story about when I opened up my first business and I put my website out there and I built it myself. And I mean,
Right.
it took me forever. It was like giving birth, you know? I mean, it just to build a website sometimes. And I was so afraid to go online with it because I thought all these orders were going to come rushing in.
Yeah.
And of course, I know better now. I mean, this was in the early stages of the internet. But I mean, honestly, nobody can see exactly where things are going. And even now with AI, we don't know exactly where things are headed. But that is really good advice. I also love that line that you said, anything that's was not living or growing is dead, and I
Yes.
just thought, yeah, so that's so true,
Yeah.
and sometimes we stagnate in our businesses too and in our lives. Um,
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
I love that phrase.
If I
Um,
if I may just underline what you just said now, because you said it was like giving birth. You said having your business like giving birth, and it
mhm,
really is. We bring out this baby, and we're like, oh, wild. Here's my business, and not everybody's saying, oh, your baby is so pretty, and then
yes.
we hold on to that baby. I guess you can compare like a natural child when they start, leaving the nest, and they're getting their own wings and flying out. And sometimes we hold on so tightly to that. We hold it like it's still a newborn baby, but it's actually outgrown, and we've outgrown that. And just like a parent, at some point you're going to have the emptiness syndrome thing, and kind of think, okay, this is not a bad thing. It's part of life. How do I maneuver this change and grow with it? And with business owners, sometimes it's very hard to let go or even change something that we built from the ground up, because we're so emotionally attached to it. It's like our baby, like you said.
Mhm.
And then we don't realize we're stagnant, or it's not growing anymore. It's dying literally. So
Yes, yes. I love that analogy, especially as our business grows, because we do have to give away more and more of it because we can't, I guess it's to carry that analogy on. It's like our kids. You don't just keep them with you. They have to go out into the world. And with our businesses too, more and more people have to have their hands involved in it in order for it to grow and thrive. Um,
exactly,
but I think
exactly.
also, when our business, fails, and I had a custom invitation design business and I just
Mhm.
went about it the whole the whole wrong way. I had a poor business, or yes, a poor business plan to begin with, and didn't do my due diligence with it. But when it did fail, it was almost I had to go through a grieving process before I went and looked back at it and said, okay, what went wrong here? And depersonalized it, disconnected my own self from that business and say, okay, this didn't happen because of me necessarily. This happened because the numbers were not there, or the market was like this. And I think that's really helpful when we do have a failure in our business to kind of go back and say, there's a reason for this. I have a coach that says the magic is in the debrief. And that's really true because really, unless you take a look at it, whether it's a business or a marketing campaign, anything you do, unless you go back and take a look at it and really analyze why it failed, you're not going to learn from it and you're not going to do better next time necessarily.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like to see failure as feedback. What did I learn from that? And there's some valuable lessons from that. There's so many lessons we can take with us,
Yes.
Yeah.
Lessons we'd rather not have probably, but, or have easier.
We'd rather learn them another way. That's true. But such is life, we don't really get to choose the lessons. Like in class, the lesson is there. You don't get to choose what questions are there. You just get to sit and take the class,
That's so true.
Yeah.
So now you are focused on marketing and specifically marketing communication, correct?
Content marketing.
Content marketing, right.
Yes,
okay. Yes.
Part of digital marketing.
Right. So why do you think people need to have a content marketing plan in place? I agree with you, they do. And I see a lot of my own clients that do what I call like shot in the dark marketing, where they will try this and try that and not really have a strategy in place because they are waiting for something to hit. They're waiting for like a golden or silver bullet, right. Whatever. But yes. So tell me about how you organize a strategy. How do you plan things out for your clients?
Right. I like the way you said that, waiting for the magic bullet, sometimes like throwing spaghetti on the wall and just hoping something sticks. Or what happens is sometimes we get caught in what the online space, what we call the bright and shiny object syndrome. Oh, it's TikTok. Oh, no, it's Threads. Oh, it's Reels. Oh, and then we're jumping from one thing to the other, especially if you kind of follow the gurus, the online gurus, and you don't look at your own business and your target audience and then create a strategy from there, which is to answer your question. I think it's important to have a strategy because there's so much out there. There's so much you can do. And as business owners, it's easy to spread ourselves thin, especially if you're a solopreneur, if you're a brand or an NGO. Even then, although I find that big companies and NGO tend to be behind because it take a long time to implement changes. So, before an organization or an NGO implements any kind of content marketing strategy, there's a lot of people that have to say things, a lot of people have to approve. So it takes a while to move this big train or this big ship. But for business owners or solopreneurs or small businesses, we can implement things quickly, like the mom pop shop or the family owned business. And that is the danger, that we can implement things quickly, so we can get into the trap of, oh, let's try this. No, let's try that. Oh, wait, I saw this. Oh, I think it's important to start with the end in mind, as in put yourself in your ideal audience's shoes and imagine their buyer's journey, not from your perspective, because sometimes we're doing things from a business owner perspective and forgetting we're not our clients. Sometimes we're our clients, like I was with the books, which is also dangerous because, you kind of serve yourself and not really serve the client. Start with your ideal target audience and put yourself literally in their shoes, which means, like you said before, depersonalize, take yourself out of that. Or if you can't do that, send them a survey or just ask them questions, And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, in the bookshop, the people would come in and they would tell me things that I would not have known. No, I got this book for this amount. And then I'd go in and see, okay, they're selling it for this much. How did they manage to have such, such low prices? So you can ask your clients, what are their problems? What are their pain points? And then from there, you create a strategy weaving in your promise and then
Mm-hmm.
delivering the promise, obviously, because we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. Um, so I think it's really important to have a strategy, and it's like a plan. Like they say, if you don't, it's so cliche. If you don't plan to fail, you're planning to fail. And a strategy is no different. It's really a plan. It's like, what are you going to implement and how are you going to implement it? And a lot of people underestimate that. They think, oh yeah, we're doing social marketing, social media marketing. We're going to create some visuals on Canva and we're going to post them out there. There's more to it than that. You need to
Mm-hmm.
have a strategy. Like, again, put yourself in your audience's shoes, and when you're posting, you always want to be creating content that is guiding your audience along their buyer's journey, so that when they're ready, it'll be like, oh, you're just there, or oh, this is the person I'm going to go with, because they've been seeing your content, or your strategy has the touch points of the marketing that your clients are going through. So you need to really map out your client journey, and then from there, go on with your marketing. And a lot of business owners, we kind of skip on that. We want to do things.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So true.
one thing to be in a hurry to go somewhere, but if you're not really sure where you're going, speed is actually not such a good idea. You could be going nowhere really fast.
So
Yeah.
true. I've done it myself.
Me
um,
too. Me too. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of
so
what I teach is actually, if I may just say, it's not theory. It's also like lessons learned in the trenches, because I'm not only a content creator, but I'm also a content consumer. So when I'm
yes.
online, I'm always looking, sometimes very subconsciously, I'm looking at things from the two parts, because I'm very curious. I'm a lifelong learner. So I like to learn things, but I'm also looking at it from like, okay, creator point of view and consumer point of view. And a lot of what I teach is really also from either, if not my own experiences, and also working with clients, or just observing the trends in the market and being able to see a little bit of the big picture.
Absolutely. Yeah, we learn a lot and we pick up a lot without even realizing it sometimes. Especially, I think, in marketing, because we always have that in the back of our mind, and we are always seeing things in a different way than other people are. I feel that a lot in
Right.
with work with clients. But you have a framework, which I think is really simple and I love it. So take us down this framework that you have for just working through that buyer's journey.
Right. Okay. The framework I have is ABC. So I was trying to remember the other day, how did I come up with that? And I really cannot remember.
But it's
Um, that was the funniest thing, because it's my framework I created. I haven't seen it with anybody else, and I will put like kind of protect it, and I really can't remember. But the ABC is like it's actually a bit bigger, but the basics is ABC, which is attract. You want to attract your ideal audience. And one of the ways you can do that is with social media. I teach content marketing. So we're talking about content. It doesn't only have to be online, but in this case, let's say we just look at online, but you can attract your ideal audience by going to events, and somebody asks, hey, what do you do? And let's say you're a photographer, and I capture people's memories. And like, how do you do that? And then you explain, I'm a professional photographer. I take, it's one thing to have a selfie, but just to give an example, so you want to attract your ideal audience. And in this case, when we're looking at online marketing, social media is one of the best places to do that. We are all flocking to these sites every single day for at least 1 hour, 2 hours, sometimes even longer. And so you want to be there. You can use social media to do different things, but I like to use it for visibility, basically. So attract your ideal audience with social media, or even, events. Um, and then you want to build a relationship with those people who are cold leads and they begin to see you. Sometimes they're just scrolling and they see you and they keep scrolling, but they see you. You're visible, you know.
Mhm.
And now you want to build relationships because social media is this big party where everybody's talking at the same time. And
Mhm.
so you want them to say, oh, I like this person, let's get to know each other better. And the way you want to build the relationships is with email. All of us use email. I mean, we use an email address to log into the social media platforms. So almost everybody has an email besides a mobile device, which my grandmother in the village has. One thing that almost all of us have is an email address. You can hardly get around the world without it these days. So you want to build relationships through email. So how do you do that? You want to offer these people who you met in the big party, you want to offer them your business card. In this case, it's like a lead magnet. You want to offer something of value. Could be a checklist. It could be a short training. It could be some people want to get on a call if you have a high ticket offer.
Mhm.
So you offer them something, and in exchange they give you their email address. So online we say ethical bribe. So we're exchanging. I'm going to give you this thing of value, but it's not actually free. It's valuable, and people don't really value free things per se. But
Mhm.
the exchange is with the email address. And
Yeah.
then you start adding value to this person outside the big party on social media with more valuable content. Basically, you show them this is the problem you have because you must be following me for a reason. You either want entertainment, you want inspiration, you want, let me see, we create content to entertain, inspire, educate, or what is the third one? Inform.
Mhm.
So there's a reason why you're following me. And so I'm going to give you more exclusive content that I don't share on the big party on social media. And then also let you know how we can work together. We're not going to pretend like we're just giving you free things. I'm in business and you know that you're a potential client. So we both know that we have a professional arrangement. It's not a situationship. You might have a problem at some point and I might be able to, might be the right person to solve it. I also might not be. Either way, you want to build relationships with email. And then the C is you want to convert that relationship then into a client company. So you want to sell them something, you want to offer them something, you want to solve a problem because that's what sales is. Sales can sound so icky, like, ooh, selling them
Mhm.
something. It's really what it is you're really solving a problem. You're offering a solution and there's an exchange, and the more valuable the solution is, the more um, higher the monetary value, let's say, of the exchange. I'm going to give you this and you're going to give me this. I'm going to solve your problem, which is a pain point and you want it solved, and I can do that. Would you like me to solve it? Convert, essentially. You make an offer and the client can say, oh yes, or they can say, I'm not sure, or they can say, no thank you. And that's okay. That's okay.
Mhm.
We're not presumptuous just because we build a relationship that we're going to go exclusive. you know, there's a chance that it's really not a good fit, and that's fine too. That's okay too. So that's the ABC: attract with social, build with email, and convert with multimedia. In this case, it could be podcasts where you make an offer because you have loyal people who listen to you. It could be a webinar. I love webinars. I always tend to buy when I go on a webinar myself. I need to do more of those, but every time I go on a webinar, I tend to buy because I experience the person in real life. My questions are answered, and there's always such an irresistible offer. You're like, I'm ready. If you're going to spend like
Mhm.
45 minutes listening to a training, you're normally means you're ready to have a problem solved. So multimedia, essentially, video trainings, online courses with multimedia, podcasts, that's conversion. But it goes beyond that. I was thinking about that the other day. There's the ABCDEF. I was looking at an old video where I kind of drew like the funnel and I drew it like a circle. It's not really a funnel. It's like it
Yes.
goes around. And the ABC, the D was the deliver. Because how many times have we paid for something and then it was not what we were promised, or it took a long time, and then we had buyer's remorse, because the
Mhm.
delivery either was not what we expected, it was not on time, there was confusion, where's my product. So delivery is also very important. A, B, C, D, you've converted the client. Now you need to really deliver. It's like when you go in a relationship with somebody and you've been really wooing them and dating them and showing up so well. And then once they say, I do, you kind of just sit back and you're like, these are the totally different person and you're not delivering what the person signed up for. A relationship that is based on how we started off, And then the E is exceed, which is when you deliver, then because sometimes we businesses, not only businesses, I've seen that with NGOs, I've seen that with like, let's say, speaker, like organizations that maybe recruit you, like, we're going to help you speak, or we're going to, I don't know, whatever, different organizations, they're very eager to recruit, sometimes even churches, to recruit people, come and join us. Hey, come join us. And then once you're in there, it's like, this is a totally different field, the what's the word? The energy, the enthusiasm, the almost like the love bombing that was there before, like wanting to join, it's no longer there. And we do that sometimes with our clients. We're really like really showing up, when we get the sale, we just disappear and move on to the next thing. And it's been proven that people who have bought from you are more likely to buy from because they know you already, they've experienced you already. So why not nurture these clients, by delivering and exceeding expectations? I'll give you a short example, Janice. There's a company that does webinars that I also do my webinars through them. There are a few providers. And what I really love about this couple is they regularly have like monthly calls for members, for clients. They don't have to, but they do, like, come and ask your questions, And then, of course, sometimes they tell us, this is what we upgraded. We have this thing for you. So there's also some selling in there, but I really, really love how they do business. You get a feeling like you're not just a number in their machine, like they really care for you. And it's been years. And I would buy anything they sell, really, because they've proven themselves that they were not just interested in getting me as a webinar software buyer, but they're interested in the lifetime value, the client lifetime value. So that's really, really important to not just the ABC convert and then move on to the next thing, but deliver. And then, and sometimes, like this company, when I joined them, their product was still in beta. So they let us know, hey, we're testing out some bugs and we're working things out. So when the delivery was a bit glitchy, we knew that, they let us know that, and they didn't just disappear and kind of say, nothing. And they've really fine-tuned their product now, and they continue to exceed expectations. They really that's a case study of how things, how business can be done. I really appreciate what they do. Absolutely. And I'll just plug them in. Maybe they're called Webinar Ninja. It's by a couple. They're really, really good. I mean, I've tried out different webinars, different webinar softwares, but these guys are really good. Not only is their product good, but their customer service, because customer service is the point about delivery and exceeding, and not just quickly trying to get members in. And once they're in the door, I've been in such organizations, then, there's no training, there's nothing. And then when you say, you know what, I'm canceling my membership, and then suddenly they're coming around and like, hey, and you're like, I don't think so.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And, I have something very similar, a framework that I work with. I call it the trail to the sale. But you mentioned that it was kind of circular, and it really, really is. And, mine is a little more complex. I wish I'm envious of your simplicity here, but it spells out access. So it's awareness, consider, compare, evaluate, sell, serve, supersize, serve, and then send. So you're sending people back to your business again. So what you just did right there was an example of that, where you said, I really like this company. I had a great experience with them. Let me tell you about them. And that's how that cycle continues, right? So you've got happy customers, and happy customers like to tell others. Unfortunately, unhappy customers also tell others. So that's why that serve part is so important. no matter if you've got an online product or course, or if you're serving clients in person. I mean, obviously, if you've got a client that you're serving in person, you want to make sure that they're happy and you have that one-on-one feedback and you develop that relationship a little closer than you can say online. But if you really are serving them well, you know that they're going to stay a client and probably refer you. So I love that.
Absolutely. Lifetime value. And you said it, Janice. It happens very organically. A happy client becomes like a brand ambassador. You don't have to pay for ads so much and we tend to believe other people when they tell us about something than the company telling us, hey, we're so good. It's human nature. Like if I'm telling you, Janice, hey, my business is so good, you need to buy this. You'll be listening, but you're thinking, of course you think your business is good. But if somebody else comes and tells you, hey, Nancy is really good, you're more likely to believe them on a different level because, there's no, if I'm advertising my business, obviously I'm advertising my business. But if somebody else is just genuinely telling you, I bought this thing, like we also ask other people, do you know somebody who, do you know a good plumber? Do you know a good carpenter? We don't use carpenters nowadays. So referral, in a normal way, not like the other referral marketing that can be a little bit icky, where there's a bit too much push. But organically, as you said, we tend to they become loyal brand ambassadors, really, and the lifetime value is very underrated.
Very, very much so. And that's why, I guess that's the basis of social proof, where people believe the reviews. And I do this too. If I'm going to buy something, or even if I'm in a store and I'm, trying to decide between two different items, whatever they may be, I will go online and look at the reviews for both of them. Unfortunately, they can't always be trusted. I know I've also purchased things from Amazon and had them contact me and say, hey, if you, give me 5 stars, I will send you this free thing.
Send you this thing.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I don't have a problem with somewhat in saying thank you to a referral. Like if I have a referral, I will usually send them a gift card for a cup of coffee or a nice note or something like that. Just say thank you and know that way, really mean it. However, there's that fine line. You have to decide whether or not you're going to do. So
that's the underbelly of the whole sales and marketing as well. That's really the underbelly. And I guess we know that as well, but that's such is life. We're not going to let the underbelly stop us from still reading the reviews and taking a chance on it. And sometimes I'll even buy something that doesn't have a review and think maybe I'll be the one to leave the review. And often what also happens is that I never leave reviews.
It's hard to remember to go back and do it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I encourage my clients to just send an email or something to say, hey, would you mind just giving us a review? And most of the time, if people are really happy, they are more than generous with their words and will go back and say, yes, I had a really good experience. And like you just did this morning with the webinar providers. So.
Yes, I love them. I buy anything they sell. I'm that convinced about them, and they've stayed in my mind because I've been on the online space for a while, and you get to see a lot. You see a lot, a lot of stuff, and so when you have an experience that stands out, it does stand out, and if it stands out in a negative way, that stands out too, So yeah.
Well, I love your ABC. A is attract your ideal audience. B is build relationships with your leads, right? And then C is convert your prospects into buyers.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Okay, perfect. Well, Nancy, I have learned so much this morning. I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you. And you have a free download. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, my website is obviously www and then nagaconsulting.com. So nagaconsulting.com. And all my social media handles are also Naga. So NAGA social. So whether it's LinkedIn, it could be, /Naga social, Facebook, Naga Social, all my social media handles, all across all the platforms, although I'm not active on all the platforms, are Naga Social. I'm active on LinkedIn and Facebook and a bit of Instagram. So yeah.
Gotcha. All those links will be in the show notes for today too. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you for having me, Janice. I enjoyed our conversation very much. Thank you.
I love how Nancy turned her experience about a failed business into a powerful learning experience. Nancy has a free digital content marketing checklist where she goes deeper into the ABC framework she talked about on the show today. I put the link to that in our show notes. She also has a digital content marketing planner. This planner is comprehensive, something we all could use when we think about how many moving parts there are to creating content. Plus, she's generously offering a 20% discount for this product for the next 30 days. For the links for both of these, plus any other things we talked about in today's episode, please visit my show notes page at myweeklymarketing.com/38. That's /38. As always, thank you for joining me today. I know there are a lot of podcasts out there, so I appreciate the time you spend with me. See you next time. Bye for now.